Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
That is one of the worst losses that you will ever see. One of the worst losses that you will ever freaking see for a Major League Baseball team. I mean, not even just specifically for the New York Mets, who have a ridiculous laundry list that could extend a New York City block long of horrible, ugly, disgusting, there's no way you can possibly lose now losses. The Mets have a million of those, and this is one of the absolute worse, as the Mets trailing 3-0 out of the gate in this game because of some just horrific, sloppy, ugly defense from them in the early innings of this game. And by some miracle, the offense that looked listless and just completely dead the entire way gets a clutch 2-out pinch hit 2-run double from Mark Vientos to inch them closer before tying this game in the 9th inning on a Juan Soto bloop. And after that bloop hit from Juan Soto, the Mets completely crapped their pants. There's no other way to put it. The Mets completely crapped themselves from that moment on through the end of this game, as it turns out to be a gut-wrenching, a heartbreaking, a pull your heart out of your chest and still show it to you while it's beating kind of loss for the New York Mets, as their playoff hopes are on the line and they are just millimeters away from finally breaking this ridiculous 0-67 streak of losing when trailing after 8 innings. And they can't find a way to come through against the last place garbage Washington freaking Nationals. It is one of the worst losses when you consider all of the circumstances for the New York Mets, I will say, in their franchise history as far as regular season games go. Obviously, the games in 07 and 08 down the stretch there. We've had some really awful ones this year, though, and this is right up there with it. An inside the park 2-run homer in the top of the 11th inning for the Nationals, and the Mets lose this one, a final of 5-3. Cincinnati has just went ahead of Chicago 2-1 in the 4th inning of that game, and there is a very real possibility that the Mets will lose a game in the standings to the Nationals because of some of the worst defense that I have seen in all my years of watching baseball from the New York Mets. I am beside myself. My day is ruined. My day is completely freaking ruined by the New York Mets. I have never been more exhausted than I have been watching these last 2 games against the Nationals. And what does that tell me? It tells me that this is not a true playoff team. If they have to make us sweat out a win yesterday, thanks in large part to some miscues from the Nationals, and then for the Mets to crap themselves the way that they did here today in what is just a horrible loss, it tells me they're not a playoff team. This Nationals team is 30 games under 500. And you can't find a freaking way to scratch across a run in the 9th or 10th inning there after Edwin Diaz just gave you a 1-2-3? Or how about in the 11th after you get Abrams' stupid base running blunder tagged out at 3rd and you give up an inside the park freaking home run thanks to the most useless player perhaps the Mets have ever had in their franchise history, Cedric Mullins? Because if he's not striking out, he's out in the outfield making horrible fielding decisions, plays that ball off the wall about as poorly as you possibly ever could have, as it rolls into center field the other way. And Jordan Lyle, who I'm telling you, man, there are not many people that I can say I genuinely hate in sports. Not personally, but just from how their attitude is on the plate. This guy right here, I hate this guy. I don't like that freaking guy. What a punk. My goodness. But he deserves it. He deserves it because the Mets embarrassed themselves. What up, guys? Tony Metro, you know the deal. Daily Mets content, post-game recaps after every game. Subscribe if you're not already. Leave this video a like. Go ahead and do that now, please. Really appreciate it. It helps the channel. Yan Ortiz, it was a disaster today. Disaster is an understatement. This is one of those losses that if the Mets don't make the playoffs, we will look back at this game September 20th, one day before my birthday. And I'm not asking for birthday greetings when I say that, but a nice little gift from the Mets. today from the Mets for my birthday this weekend. Thank you very much, Mets. You've done this to me so many years here in the month of September. But my point is, the Nationals, speaking of gifts, tried to gift wrap this freaking game to the Mets. And they kept saying, nah, we're good. We don't need it. We're fine. Don't worry about it. Got Francisco Alvarez at the plate with Vientos at second after his 2-run double. What does he do? Strikes out. You go to the 9th inning. You get Juan Soto with the game-tying bloop single. Now you got first and second. And what do? They double steal. They walk Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo with about as piss poor of an at-bat as you can have in that situation, chasing 2 pitches to strike out, and the Mets blow it in the 9th. So we go to extras. Edwin Diaz gives you about as perfect of a 1-2-3 10th inning as you could ask for from a closer with the ghost runner at second base. And what do the Mets do? They get a gift again from the Nationals. They can't properly catch the bunt that gets popped up by Luis Angel Acuna, first and second, and it's Francisco Alvarez again, grounding into a double play, about the only thing you couldn't have in that situation. Mets could have bunted there, given yourselves 2 opportunities. Instead, a ground out double play from Alvarez. Runner at third, Ronnie Mauricio, who hasn't seemingly taken at bat in over a month, flies out to left. And then with an out and 2 strikes after the Abrams base running blunder, Trevor Rogers serves up an absolute bomb to left center field that, like I said, you couldn't have played that ball any more poorly than Cedric Mullins did, and it turns into an inside the park freaking home run. And the Mets can't even scratch a run across in 2 extra innings with the ghost runner at second. It is a disaster of a loss. Jimmy James, Nimmo sucks. He's not clutch. That was a horrible at-bat from Nimmo. Absolutely horrible day from Nimmo. Horrible at bat there in the top of the 9th, or the bottom of the 9th inning. Awful. Steph in the infield, inside the park homer was ugly, man. And it's just, you can't describe it. This is one of those most Metsian losses of all time. If you look up Mets bad losses, this is one of those games that will come up in the dictionary. When you consider they are clinging to this lead, when they are playing a last place team in the Nationals, they have multiple opportunities in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and the 11th, considering the ghost runner on base rules, and blow every one of them to have it be an inside the park freaking home run. This is one of the most Metsian losses that I have ever seen in my entire life. Greg Dang, our center field, has cursed everyone in that position, not named Tyrone Taylor. Everyone in center field has been a complete disaster this year. Jeff McNeil is the only guy that has been penciled in as the center fielder that has done anything for this team at the plate or in the field. Even Jeff McNeil probably makes a better play on that ball in center field than freaking Cedric Mullins does. What an absolute stiff Cedric Mullins has been since joining this team. I gave him credit. He had a decent series against the Padres, a hit or 2, a stolen base or 2, had some production, and then he does this. He has this horrific play, another offer at the plate. What a scrub. What an absolute stiff Cedric Mullins is. Jean Ortiz, can we talk about how bad Mullins is? I just did. There you go, man. Awful. Jimmy James is the only consistent thing the Mets have done all year, is never come back and win in the last inning. I mean, they literally could not have scripted it any worse than they just did. You are 90 feet away from breaking this thing of not being able to come back after trailing after the 8th inning. All you need is to maybe put the ball in play if you're Brandon Nimmo there with the bases loaded and he chases 2 pitches out of the freaking zone to strike out. About as horrible of an at-bat as you could possibly have there from Brandon Nimmo. Unacceptable. Starling Marte goes down. It is just a mind-numbing loss. I mean, you could win tomorrow. It doesn't change anything for me. This was a failure of a game for the Mets. Trailing the whole game in it. We got to go back. We got to go back to the first 2 innings. Soft contact, leadoff walk, gives them a 1-0 lead. But then the second inning, ball going past Juan Soto all the way to the wall to put Riley Adams at third. Pete Alonso not making the proper flip to first base. A wild pitch, Karam's off the back wall. Pete Alonso picks it up, makes a bad throw. I mean, this is one of the most cataclysmic, ugly, terrible losses that I've ever seen. And there are a long list of these in this team's history. Unbelievable, man. Ring ding. Also, with how good McLean is, we don't need offense, but the framing and catching from Luis Torrens would be better. I don't even have a comment for it, man. I'm just so frustrated by this right now. Edward Christian Aquan, errors killed us. Hold on, let me go back. Errors killed us this day. It's been a good rally for us to win this game. Lots of scoring opportunities. I believe Diaz should have pitched on the 11th. Heartbreaking. I thought we were going to be 1-65. 0-66 now. I think I might have put 0-67 in the overlay here. What does it matter? Mets are winless in 60-plus games when they enter the 8th inning trailing. And there's no reason that shouldn't have changed today. There's no reason when you have your big boys coming up there in the 9th inning. They intentionally walk Pete. Nimmo with the horrible at-bat strikes out. Just put the ball in freaking play, man. And then in the 10th inning with Alvarez, first and second, nobody out. Like I said, the one thing you couldn't have happen was a double play. An inside the park home run. My God. You just can't write this shit, man. You want to write the most painful freaking way to lose a game? This was the exact script. It only happens to us. It only freaking happens to us. I'm sorry. This is insanity. Absolute insanity. Garang Dang also, Edward Christian Aquan. No, I already got you guys both. Sorry, Garang Dang, I'm going to have to turn myself into war because I might do something I won't get the chance to regret. My goodness. Now they're interviewing Cedric Mullins. What a stiff dude. Just go back to Baltimore, bro. This dude is so not cut out for the Mets. Not only does he make that horrible miscue in center field for the inside the park home run, 0 for 4 with a strikeout as well. Great job, Cedric Mullins. Really, you've been such a great deadline acquisition. Thank you so much, David Stearns. No, we didn't need Harrison Bader back. No, why do that? Why get the proven commodity that proved he knows how to play for this team and works in this clubhouse? Let's go get Cedric Mullins, who we all knew had terrible numbers. We all knew had horrible defensive metrics in center field. Yes, great freaking idea. Bring in Cedric Mullins. What a stiff he is. Joe Nimmo has to put the ball in play, and why is Alvarez not bunting? I mean, you heard Gary Cohen say on the broadcast, Alvarez is not a bunter. Oh, well, he should be bunting in that spot. You give yourself two chances, one with Mauricio and one with, I guess it would have been Mullins, who would have blown it. We know that. But at the very least, you put the ball in play with Mauricio. You never know. Mauricio probably doesn't end up flying out to left field like he did with 2 outs. But if he did do that again with 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, walk-off sacrifice fly. And I'm not sitting here screaming, ready to pull my freaking hair out today. What a effing joke. An effing joke they lost this game. You want to talk about choke? That is the biggest choke that I have seen the Mets have this season. To the last place, 30 games under 500 Washington Nationals, clinging to a 2-game lead in the wild card. Just unacceptable. On all fronts. The managing, the fielding, the hitting, the pitching, everything. Everything. Unacceptable. Grangding, I need Stearns Mendy and all the analytics board to show me why the F Albie wasn't bunting. I agree, man. I agree. And look, hindsight's 2020. We're all going to call for Albie to bunt right now. Had he got a base hit, we'd all be saying, yeah, he got a base hit, but he didn't. He grounds into a double play. But the book would tell you bunt with Alvarez there. I don't care that he's probably never squared up in a big league game before. I'm having him bunt there. Give myself 2 opportunities, even if it is with Mauricio and it is with Cedric Mullins, 2 guys that are the unlikeliest of the players on this roster to come through. You just had to put the ball in play at that point, something Brandon Nimmo couldn't do in the bottom of the 9th inning. That could have saved us from the extra heartache of going to extra innings. But instead, no, let's just pile on to the Mets fans. Let's just make this as horrible and terrible as freaking possible. I am just disgusted by this team. Guys, go ahead, leave this video a like if you have not already. Really appreciate it. Helps the channel out big time here. Mark Rapp, Nimmo is garbage. A lot of Nimmo hate. Nimmo and Alvarez, probably the 2 guys that are most culpable in this one. Cedric Mullins is, of course, as well. I mean, that ball was going to get down. I mean, I think Tyrone Taylor probably catches that ball up against the wall. But I guarantee you this, he does not let it trickle out back toward right center field and turn into an inside the freaking park home run. I can guarantee you that if Tyrone Taylor is patrolling center field. But those are the 3 culprits here. Those are the 3 big culprits of this game. Obviously, it feels like 2 different games because in the beginning, I'm thinking how this was just a lifeless offense. They're going to lose 3-0, maybe 3-1, but they had multiple opportunities. Mets with runners in scoring position in 4 of the first 5 innings of this game, and they can't cash in. They have the fielding errors in the first 2 innings, obviously. And then they come alive there, thanks to the pinch hit 2-run double by Vientos. And it feels like a whole different game after that. A whole nother set of pain watching this team here today. I mean, this is inexcusable. This is just inexcusable. We are a hopeful playoff team that should be beating the crap out of a 30 games under 500 last place team. And instead, we look like the last place team. We looked like the last place team here today. Not the Nationals. The Mets looked like the last place team here today. Throwing error from Pete. The pass ball and another throwing miscue from Alonso. Ball going under Soto's glove. I mean, this was Little League Baseball. Literally, complete Little League Baseball game, even right down to having an inside the park home run. It's just, wow. Absolutely unacceptable losing to this punching Judy minor league team. That's exactly what they are. Perfect way to put it. Minor league team. But the Mets, they look like a minor league team. They look like a little league team. I just said it. Buzz Bass, and that's the season. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Buzz Bass. Mullins is a piece of crap. Looks uninterested. Nimmo with a great at-bat in the 9th. Yep. I sense the sarcasm there. I mean, dude, this is crazy. I'm not ready to say the season's over. Hopefully the Reds end up losing today, but based on how that series has gone so far with the Cubs, it doesn't look that way, and they are leading right now. And I'm sorry, I love Juan Soto, and I thought he had a great at-bat there to punch that one into center field and tie it in the 9th. I don't know why you're looking for a walk there, my guy. That was a strike right on the corner to end this game, and he's complaining about it. Just a disgusting game. Absolutely. This is the team we had to have a sweep from. That's exactly what I said all week, guys. After Thursday, when the Mets beat the Padres, I said, great, that's nice, 2 out of 3. Now go sweep the Nationals like you should. Go do what a playoff team should and sweep a last place 30 games under 500 Nationals team. And the Mets have committed, what? That must be 4 or 5 errors now in 2 games. And they barely escape it yesterday. And then today, they have one of the worst losses I have seen in years. Considering all the circumstances, one of the worst losses I have seen in freaking years from the New York Mets. And again, that is saying something when you consider the New York Mets history. Mark Rapp, Gary says Alvarez is not a bunter. I'm sorry, you're a major leaguer. You know how to bunt. That's the funny thing, though, Mark. They don't know how to bunt. They don't teach bunting anymore because bunting is giving away an out, they say. Well, could have won you the game here today. Instead, grounded to a double play. Francisco Alvarez, for as huge of a hit as he had yesterday, not a good game today, man. Couldn't come through in the 8th inning with the tying run at second. Couldn't come through with a knock, or at the very least, not roll into a double play there in the 10th. I'm beside myself, guys. Garang dang, I don't know. I don't care if he knows how to bunt. We don't care how Alvarez is getting on base. Just put the ball in play. He did that, unfortunately, in the worst possible scenario. Edward Christian Aqua, Nats runners getting caught. That Acuna bunt. Diaz 7-pitch outing. Lots and lots of miscues. I'd rather start McNeil in center field rather than Mullins. Nimmo's batting discipline is amateurish, disgusting. This is not Brandon Nimmo for the first 6-7 years of his career. The new Brandon Nimmo, while it's got some perks, more power, it's got a lot of downsides as well. And I've said this many times before. Strikeouts, not as much discipline. He's got a hole in that swing. And the one spot where you just need Nimmo to bear down, be patient, not swing at anything out of the zone. And he does a disastrous job of it, chasing strike 2 and strike 3 in that at-bat. Put the ball in freaking play. Make the Nationals make a freaking play. They've been kicking the ball around all the series as well as the Mets have. Just as much. The only thing is the Nationals have taken advantage of the Mets' miscues these last 2 days, and the Mets have let them fall by the wayside. And that is why they have lost this game here today. And that is why we might wake up tomorrow or just check the box score later and see that the Reds have gained a game on them in the wild card standings. Kev Chada here to vent. Oh, you were in the perfect place, guys. Leave this video a like if you've not already. Really appreciate y'all being here. And be sure to subscribe if you're not already. Daily Mets content, post-game recap after every Mets game. Feed on land. These types of teams, y'all need to sweep. If the Reds win today, you're only 1.5. Well, we're only 1.5 ahead right now. If the Reds win today, we are only 1 game ahead. Feed on land. I don't know who you're a fan of, but I guess not a Mets fan. But yes, the Mets will only be a game ahead if Cincinnati beats the Cubs here tonight. Hi, guys. I don't know. Kevin Chowder, just when I thought I was out, they bring me back in. Typical Mets. Yep, a typical Mets loss. just when you think they may have something going, you win 2 out of 3 versus San Diego. You have a little comeback victory yesterday against the Nationals despite some miscues. You keep vomiting all over yourself. You give up a bunch of runs to the Nats today on defensive errors and miscues. And you have multiple opportunities to come back and win this game to erase that horrible, ugly number of 0-66 after trailing past the 8th inning. And they just completely throw it away. Completely throw it away. Kipchada left at home 3-0. Outside saw game 3-3. Scrambled to live radio. Only here to the Mets down 5-3. An inside the park home run. An inside the park. Oh my God. How I didn't end up breaking anything in my apartment is a shocker to me after that. Truly. An inside the park home run. Unbelievable. Sandman games. Gilbert would be good in center field. Oh, wait. LOL. Tony the legend. The Jack Daniels is out tonight. Oh, my God. Jack Daniels would be so great right now. I need something, man. I can't believe we just watched that game. Joe Gilbert is hitting 210. Yeah, well, look, trust me. I'm not losing sleep over trading Joe Gilbert. I am losing sleep over the trades the Mets did make, and that is for Cedric frickin' Mullins. Every day, it's a new guy from this trade deadline. Of course, it was Ryan Helsley as the punching bag for the first 3 weeks that he was here, first month. Then it turned into Cedric Mullins. Other times it's been Gregory Soto. And I don't love Tyler Rogers and how he has been this year, but it's not his fault. Yeah, he gave up a big hit there, obviously, but Cedric Mullins, I'm watching on a freaking commercial for MLB TV, and it's Cedric Mullins going up against the wall as a member of the Baltimore Orioles and coming down with the catch. Oh, this is irony, man. The irony of this, man. It's so cruel being a Mets fan. God hates us. God truly hates us, guys. I don't know what else to say. Buzzbass, Mets are always going to Met, and that will never change. We all need to stop kidding ourselves. I mean, dude, I don't know why I keep doing it to myself. 30 years. 30 years I've been doing this to myself. I mean, what do they call it? Stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. These are the New York freaking Mets, guys. Just crazy. Jose Lopez in the 9th inning in the double steal when Soto stole second. He took the bat out of Alonso's bat because he was walked. You know, that's a choice right there. You got a point. You got a really good point, Jose, because I loved the steal of Lindor to third because then it's just a sacrifice fly. But Soto going as well, and I'm not blaming Soto because I believe it was a double steal call. But that obviously then takes the bat out of Pete's hands because they intentionally walk him. And I wonder, had Soto stayed, maybe they pitched to Pete. Now then there's also the threat of the double play still being available with Pete at the plate. So it's unfortunate, man. The Nats just outlasted the Mets in terms of crappiness. They were just a little less crappy than the Mets, which is crazy because the Nats played like dog shit. But the Mets played like 3-week-old dog shit. It's just, you wouldn't know who was competing for a playoff spot if you watched this game. You would have no idea. If you just were dropped into the universe right now and sat down and watched this game without watching either team's record, without knowing them, then you would really not be able to tell that either of them were competing for a playoff spot. And that's just unacceptable from the Mets. I can't believe this shit. So Alonso reminds me of Babe Rube Baker in Major League 2. Maybe he needs a magazine to help him throw the ball better. I mean, Jesus Christ. Get him a Playboy at this point. Joe, why are we talking about Mendoza not sending Diaz back out? I mean, yeah, could have sent Diaz back out there for a second inning. I agree. Not a bad call. You could get on him, but I'm sorry. This comes down to a player execution point, and if you want to blame anything on Mendoza, it's not bunting Alvarez there. It's not bunting Alvarez in that spot in the 10th inning and letting him hit into the double play. It sucks. Yeah, you go to Rogers, though, who is supposed to be one of your more trusted arms, but also I understand where you're coming from. Only a 7-pitch 9th inning for Edwin Diaz, 10th inning for Edwin Diaz there. You could have easily sent him back out for the 11th, 100%. But how about the first 3 runs that scored in this game against the Mets? The second inning with what I guess goes down as 2 errors, but could have been 3 errors. Letting that ball in the 11th get away from Mullins for an inside the park home run. Yes, you can get on some of Mendy's decisions here, no doubt. But the Mets played like a last place team. The Mets played the way you would think the Nationals would be playing 30 games under 500, and they blew a huge opportunity to come back and win this game. Kev Chotamendi has to force Mullins to look to bunt a lot because he's an automatic out. He's horrible. I cannot wait to never have to see Cedric Mullins in a Mets uniform again. And watch, he's going to go to Atlanta next year. He's going to go to the Marlins next year, and he's going to absolutely rake against us. That's just the way it goes, right? John X, they should play Genesis' song, Throwing It All Away, for every Mets player's walk-up song. I mean, they should play that in between innings, man. This defense has just been embarrassing the last 2 games. John says the Reds are a glorified beer league team and might make the playoffs. I mean, dude, they're a more crisp team than the Mets. I hate to admit it. I don't think they're better than the Mets, but the way the Mets have played for the last several months and what I have seen from the Reds, specifically in their head-to-head matchups as recently as, 2 weekends ago in Cincinnati, they look like a better team. They don't have these kinds of innings. They don't fail to put the ball in play or roll into double plays in the worst possible situations or allow inside the park home runs. This team is not playing like a playoff team, the Mets. They got it by the skin of their teeth yesterday. They were fortunate to get that big inning. And today, not so lucky. Not so lucky. Unable to capitalize. Just ridiculous. Sandman Games OMG to SMH. SMH is right, man. I'm just beside myself, boys. Nikos, Mullins has to be one of the worst signings ever for the Mets. The way he played that inside the park homer was ridiculous. Mendy doesn't have a clue where to put play. I mean, who is he going to go to? Because yesterday, Jose Siri dropped the ball in center field. Today, it's Cedric Mullins playing that one into an inside the park home run and going 0 for 4 with a strikeout. So, look, I get it. You want to get mad at Carlos Mendoza? That's fine. Look what happened yesterday. Siri drops a ball, fails to cut another one off that rolls all the way to the fence. So today, you insert Cedric Mullins and look at the afternoon that he had. There is nothing that Carlos Mendoza can do given the players on this roster. They have performed like garbage. Siri, Mullins, it doesn't freaking matter. And this is the perfect example. I can't give you a better example than what has transpired here over the last 24 hours in center field. That ball is expected to be caught by Jose Siri. That ball is expected to be cut off in the alley by Jose Siri. That ball is either supposed to be caught by Cedric Mullins or at the very least played in a more professional manner so it doesn't turn into an inside the park freaking home run in the top of the 11th inning. I don't know what else to say, man. I'm sorry. It's just insane. You got to blame Stearns. These are the guys he brought in. These are the guys that he thought would play a suitable center field in a platoon role with Tyrone Taylor this year. It is what it is. Grang, I was checked out, then got hope. They stomp all over my heart. This is what the Mets do, man. That's why I said it earlier in the stream. This is one of those losses where they reached into your chest, they pulled your heart out, and they showed it to you while it was still freaking beating. One of the worst losses, considering everything, the point in the season we are at, that I have seen in a long effing time for the Mets. Edward Christian Aquin, Stearns logic. We have a center fielder that's good at fielding but inconsistent in hitting. Let's get a center fielder who's hitting 200, can't even field anymore. Helsey redeeming himself at least. Yeah, Helsey with another good outing, at least a couple strikeouts in that 9th inning. That saved Diaz for the 10th, and it was looking like a Mendoza masterclass to save Diaz for the 10th inning there. Unfortunately, the bats don't get the job done. And if it's not the bats getting the job done, it's the fielding making errors out there and costing us runs. Wow. Absolute Cubs and Reds 2-2. I am not checking any more scores tonight. I'll wake up tomorrow and whatever happened. I can't deal with it, man. Just crazy. Greg Dang, never on Soto. To be honest, I wouldn't be mad if Soto took his bat to Mullins. Oh, my God. I'm not, suggesting or encouraging violence. I'm just saying I've had some choice words for a couple of different Mets this year, specifically the deadline acquisitions. Mullins saw no doubles outfield and said, hold my beer, no doubles. Hey, at least they were playing no doubles outfield, right? That's the good thing. I mean, how shallow must he have been to not be able to even get close to that ball and let it just roll away? Let me go back up. Jimmy James C, no to blame Soto, but he also needs to swing at that last pitch, insult to injury. I mean, that was Carlos Beltran, 06, all over again. Best guy at the plate, chance to do something, takes it. It was a good pitch. It was a great pitch. But I can't understand him having a gripe with it. It was perfect. It was perfectly placed on the outside corner. Knees and corner. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Not complain. I wouldn't, at least. Nick D, stiff September. Yep, here come the stiffs. Oh, God. Garang dang. Sorry, I already got to you. Buzzbass, don't feel bad. I've been doing it for 45 years now. There you go. You're in your Tug McGraw, Pedro Martinez era. Yep. 30 years I've been doing this, guys. 30 years of just pure torture being a Mets fan. Kev Chada, good teams bunt when the situation calls for it. Only Terren seems to know how to bunt. I mean, dude, Acuna doesn't get the bunt down. It turns into, what the Nationals are arguing is runner's interference, which personally, I don't really love that because he's got to run to first base. What is he supposed to be like? Oh, let me wait for you to catch that pop-up, then I'll run. So, whatever. But they don't call the interference, and it turns out to be the worst possible break that could have happened in the Mets because it's first and second, and it turns into a double play for Francisco Alvarez. Could have had him bunt there, but according to Gary Cohen, he's not a bunter. Professional big leaguers don't know how to bunt. What a joke. Madeline Schmidt, awful. Awful. Just terrible. I feel about as low as I have on the 2025 Mets in this very moment. Guys, go ahead, leave this video a like if you guys have not already. Go ahead, do that right now. Really, really appreciate y'all being here. It's a terrible loss for the Mets here. Dalen frickin' Lyle. God, I don't like that guy. I swear, I really don't like that effing guy. Edward Christian Aquan, hopes are gone that the Mets are going to sweep the Cubs. Maybe Marlins, I don't know. And don't forget that we're still going to play the Nats tomorrow. Confidence in those players are maybe an all-time low. Still LGM. I mean, tomorrow is Sean Manaea starting with Clay Holmes out of the pen. The piggyback situation in reverse from Tuesday against the Padres. I don't have a lot of confidence in it. I definitely don't. I'm very concerned about tomorrow. Even if they win tomorrow, man, it doesn't wipe away what happened here today because the Mets had a chance to win this game, and they should have won this game. They should never have fallen behind 3-0 the way they did because of horrible fielding in the second inning. They should never have been shut down by a pitcher with a 4.79 ERA entering this game. And they should not have blown the ample opportunities they had in the late and extra innings of this game to finally put the nail in the coffin on the Nationals. It's just a horrible freaking game, a horrible loss. And even if they win tomorrow, yeah, great. Even if the Reds lose today, you lose an opportunity to lower the magic number by losing this game here today. Jose Lopez, I hope the Mets win tomorrow and pray they look competitive against the Marlins. We'll see. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with the Cubs, too, before that. Because the Reds have been taking it to the Cubs. I know they're tied right now, but they've won the first 2 games of that series. They hit Chicago on Thursday. And we'll see if the Mets can do the same thing to them. But this is a missed opportunity, man. I guess I'm the fool for believing that the Mets should have swept the Nationals this weekend. I guess I'm the idiot. But I thought a team with the highest payroll in baseball, with as much talent on this roster as they have, wouldn't have an issue sweeping a team that's 30 games under 500 at the end of the season with their playoff hopes on the line. But I guess I'm the fool, huh? Fool me once, shame on me. I'm a stupid Mets fan. Buzzbass, this is all on Stearns, him and his annoying smile. Stearns has utterly failed, let's be honest. Stearns had a failure of an offseason, outside, of course, of Juan Soto, which I still always credit more to Steve Cohen than to David Stearns. And he had a failure of a trade deadline. Didn't call the prospects up early enough either. It's been a master disaster class for David Stearns this year. Kev Chada, no manager should keep the job if every game manager makes bad managerial decisions. I mean, I'm not absolving Mendy at all. But at the end of the day, you make as many errors as this team did in the field, as many, that doesn't go down as an error on Cedric Mullins. You don't get a base hit there, or at least put the ball in play if you're Brandon Nimmo in the bottom of the 9th with the bases loaded and 1 out. I mean, I'm sorry, there's got to be some player responsibility too, but definitely some blame on the manager for some of the buttons he pushed. It looked like he made a brilliant decision to have Helsley pitch the 9th, kept it scoreless, kept it a 1-run game. Goes to Diaz, gets the 7-pitch 10th inning. You could have put him back out there for the 11th if you want to blame him for that. If you want to blame him for not having Alvarez bunt there, I understand. But the players continuously fail in these big spots, and that is why they are 0-66 when trailing entering the 8th inning. Jose Lopez with Tyrone Taylor at center field, there would not have been this little league inside the park homer, no doubt. Tyrone Taylor probably makes that catch, or at the very least prevents it from being an inside the park home run. But I'm even more disgusted because the Mets mount this rally. They come back in the late innings of this game. They make it 3-2 in the 8th with the Vientos double, then Soto with the punch single to tie it up in the 9th. And I mean, the odds of winning go in the Mets' favor astronomically. I mean, 99%. The winning run is 90 feet from scoring. And the Mets continuously blow it in the 9th, in the 10th. And even worse maybe for me is after the inside the park home run in the 11th when the Mets are now trailing by 2 runs, 5-3. They showed zero fight in that bottom of the 11th. Of course, Cedric Mullins, pop up on the infield, you stiff. Lindor roped the ball all over the friggin' field today and has nothing to show for it. So I have no blame to place on Lindor. Just one of those games for him, unfortunately. And Soto takes strike three, and the Mets can't find a way to score in the 10th or the 11th freaking inning. Just unbelievable. Madeline, complete garbage. Couldn't agree more. Alvin Solano, OMG, I miss Harrison Bader. Me too, man. Me too. And we got Cedric Mullins, though. Kept shot next year. We need Pete back, but we need a late inning defensive first baseman. Pete has been horrible defensively. Pete has made some plays where he lays out, and of course, we know he digs the ball really well out of the dirt, but throwing, I mean, jeez, what a disaster for Pete throwing the ball this year. Kevchada Stearns has been the worst GM we've ever had. That's saying a lot. All right, I'm not agreeing with that, but it has definitely been a bad year this year. The personnel he has brought in, the decisions have been awful. Edward, Christian Aquin, to be honest, Mendoza managing this game is kind of better than the past games. Pinch hitting, pinch running, Halcyon on the 9th, Diaz in the 11th or 10th. Great rally, but short. Mets to break that 0-66. Playoff teams do that. That's what I'm saying, man. Playoff teams find a way to win this game, not lose it. The Mets found a freaking way to lose it. And I agree with you, Edward. I don't have a problem with how Mendy managed this game. Only thing I would say is maybe you could have bunted Alvarez there, or maybe you could have sent Edwin Diaz out there for the 11th. But at the end of the day, player execution was lacking in this game. And that is why the Mets lost this game. Anthony Risch, I knew the Mets' bad fundamentals would come back to haunt them. Say what you want about Showalter. He had that team fundamentally sound. And why isn't Soto backing up Mullins? Yeah, Soto should have been out there for sure backing him up. No doubt about it. And that is one of the nicer things about that 2022 team. They were defensively sound. They were fundamentally sound. And it has slowly kind of trickled away. I thought last year they were a pretty sound team in those regards, but definitely not as much this year. Part of that is because you got some younger players playing, I believe. That is definitely a big reason for that. And part of it's got to fall on the manager. Just unacceptable all around. Madeline Schmidt, I hear you fire Stearns. We totally suck. No, I am not agreeing to that one, but I hear you. Nimmo's a bum. For today, I'll agree with that. That is just a horrible at-bat from Nimmo. Horrible. Kevchada Nimmo needs to go no matter what. We'll see what happens with him. Thank you, Madeline. I appreciate it. Wishing me the happy birthday. Unfortunately, the Mets give me a box of crap for my birthday here. Just terrible. It's tomorrow, so they could actually make it up to me tomorrow. But like I said, man, it's hard to make up after the way they choked this one away here. Garang Dang put Mullins out of his misery. He definitely doesn't want to play here. Oh, I love you, Madeline, and all you guys. Thank you. Yeah, Garang Dang, though. Mullins looks so disinterested. It might just be his personality. It might just be his face. He's got an RBF maybe, you know. But he does not look like he has been enthused to come and play for this team from the jump, from the moment that he arrived here in Queens. And it was a bad trade. Could have went for Harrison Bader. We knew the numbers were bad on Mullins, and now we're stuck with him for the rest of this year. We'll see how long that year goes. They may not make the playoffs if they continue playing the way they are. Guys, we're going to wrap it up here because I got to get going here, but I wanted to check in with y'all. I'm sure you are all as frustrated and pissed as I am. It's a terrible loss for the Mets. We'll see what happens with Cincinnati, but for now, it's a 1.5 game lead in the wild card. We'll see if the Reds win or lose. It could be as low as 1. It could remain at 2, but in any case, it's a blown opportunity for the Mets. And I'm disgusted with their play here today. But we will be back with another post-game recap after tomorrow's game, the series finale. And that's probably going to dictate if the Mets make the playoffs or not. Because if the Mets somehow do end up losing this series to the Washington Nationals, I don't know how much more I could take. I don't know. We'll see. But guys, thank you so much for being here. Leave this video a like on your way out. Really appreciate y'all being here very much. I'm keeping the faith, but man, it is waning. It is waning in this Mets team. But that's going to do it here for today, you guys. Appreciate y'all being here once again. Until next time, though, I'm Tony Metro. Stay true to the orange and blue.